After Jason Smith lost his memory, he forgot I was his kept woman, wired me a breakup payout, and told me to get lost. I patted my pregnant belly and ran off. Over the moon, money in hand, top-shelf jeans for the baby, and no man to wait on. Couldn't be happier. The bliss didn't last. During my prenatal checkups, I kept running into Jason once, twice, 3 times. The more we crossed paths, the darker his gaze felt on me. I was terrified he'd remember, and I started thinking maybe I should just skip the country. I looked up and saw him take a deep breath and stride straight toward me. After all those coincidences, it was the first time he spoke. Any man who won't go with his wife to prenatal visits isn't worth keeping. But a kid shouldn't grow up without a dad. What I mean is, I fell for you at first sight. Forgive me for asking, can I be your child's father? I was Jason's kept girl, pretty, obedient, easy to manage, and we were perfectly in sync after dark. So the man who was famously indifferent to women did the one thing that shocked everyone. He kept me around for 3 years. Just when people started guessing he'd fallen for me, he got into a car accident and conveniently forgot only me. Damn, Jason. Don't tell me he faked amnesia just to dodge paying me off. While I was fuming, his assistant Carlos called to relay how post-amnesia Jason planned to handle me, tiptoeing around his words. Miss Isabel. After losing his memory, Mr. Jason finds it baffling that he ever played the spoiled rich kid keeping a mistress. He doesn't believe he had any feelings for you, and doesn't want to see you again. I'm sorry, but you'll need to move out of the Shunjing Bay Villa within the next 2 days. The Shunjing Bay Villa was where Jason set me up, the place where we'd shared a bed for 3 years. After living there that long, I'd kind of made it home pink lace everywhere inside, and a garden full of the sunflowers I love. So when I heard I had to move, I was a little blue. But his house is his call, and the money's his too. I nodded, listless, already prepared to walk away empty-handed. Carlos cleared his throat and added, Mr. Jason isn't heartless. When he learned you've been with him for 3 years, he felt you deserved something for your trouble. He's transferred you a breakup fee, and is gifting you an apartment inside the 4th ring. The only condition is that you don't bother him again. As soon as he finished, I got a text. 7 figures deposited. My gloom evaporated in a flash. Fireworks went off in my head. Bew, bew, bew. Pure joy. I couldn't stop smiling and rushed to promise Carlos. Don't worry. I'll move out in 2 days. No, today, and I'll never show my face in front of your Mr. Jason again. This time, I really laughed my way to the bank. Cash in hand. A baby with great genes in my belly. And no need to feed a man who never got enough at night. I hit the jackpot. Yes, I was pregnant. I love kids, so when I first found out, I probed Jason on the sly. Do you like children? He denied it without thinking. No, they're noisy and annoying. He gave me a once-over, frowned, and asked, You want a child now? His face was so serious that if I'd said yes, I knew he'd throw me out on the spot. How could I dare tell him I was pregnant? I shook my head hard. Of course not. I can't stand kids. Besides, with what we have, we can't exactly have one. No status, no title seemed like the right answer to me, perfectly expressing Jason's priorities. But Jason must have eaten some poisonous mushroom, because he flipped in a second. And what exactly is what we have? So you don't want to have a child with me? Since he clearly failed reading comprehension on my priorities speech, I stuck my tongue out at him behind his back in petty revenge. Yep, that dog of a man tossed me onto the bed at the slightest disagreement. Thank heaven the baby's tough. His dad went at it like a pile driver all night and the kid still held on. That only made me more determined to keep him. So when Amnesiac Jason told me to scram, of course I grabbed the money and ran. I had Carlos handle the deed transfer that very day, moved into the new place overnight, and started my blissful life of pregnancy pampering. By day, I walked, cooked, and took illustration gigs. By night, I read, listened to music, and smashed the like button on videos of handsome guys. Back when I was Jason's canary, life wasn't this sweet. The nut job said every time I liked a hot guy's video, we had to settle it with a round. Sure, he was gorgeous, and good in bed. And I had fun, but do it too often, and your back pays the price. So I had to sneak those videos and forget about liking them. Now I'm really living. I can fall for 108 hotties a day, sending little hearts one after another, and the next video is always the hottest one yet. With my material needs met and my spirits high, life was ridiculously good. Time flew, and suddenly it was time for another checkup. Just thinking about seeing my baby, still only an embryo, made happy bubbles fizz in my chest. So I missed that tiny flicker of unease deep down. I never imagined I'd run into Jason at a fourth ring hospital. In the lobby, I spotted him at a glance in the crowd. White bandage on his head, blue and white hospital gown on. Maybe because of the injury, his sleek black hair had been buzzed short, but it didn't hurt his looks at all. If anything, it sharpened his features, even more striking. When his gaze swept over me, I panicked and looked down, feeling that heat burning the top of my head. I groaned inside. He's the crown prince of Beijing's elite. If it's not a private hospital, it should at least be a top-tier public one. What was he doing at some average public hospital out by the fourth ring? While I was cursing in my head, the weight of that stare lifted. I risked a glance up. Jason had already vanished into the crowd. I patted my chest and let out a long breath. It's fine, it's definitely fine. He lost his memory and forgot me. Even if he saw me, it wouldn't matter. In his eyes, I'm just a stranger now. I kept telling myself that as I headed for OB. In 2025, there weren't many pregnant women doing checkups. Take a number, wait for your turn, everything was quick and smooth. The exam went well, and when I got the ultrasound and the doctor told me the baby was healthy, I was both nervous and thrilled. After losing my family, his coming made me feel blood ties again. He's my miracle in this world. Even unborn. How could I not love him? How could I not keep him? Staring at the ultrasound, I wondered how best to preserve it, my baby's first photo on Earth. First laminate it, then find a pretty frame, and then ow, someone coming toward me was running too fast. I couldn't dodge, and we collided. I flailed, losing my balance when a strong arm wrapped my waist, steadied me, and let go in an instant. I stood, staring at the ultrasound on the floor. Heart hammering, I touched my belly. The guy who hit me tossed a half-hearted sorry over his shoulder and kept rushing off. I cursed him silently, bent to pick up the printout, blew off the dust, and looked up to thank my rescuer. He was looking down at the ultrasound in my hand. When my gaze landed on that familiar face, keen brows, razor eyes, a straight nose, I went speechless. The man who'd caught me and saved my baby was Jason. My mouth hung open, the thank you stuck in my throat. Jason looked me over, then glanced at the ultrasound again. His naturally frosty face went from glacier cold to mountain blizzard, and my heart skittered. Terrified he'd remember everything and make me abort, or worse, keep the baby and ditch the mother so I'd never see my child again, I blurted. The kid isn't yours. The words were barely out when I regretted them. Jason's forgotten me. Why am I confessing with my mouth? I forced a smile and scrambled to cover. Ha, kidding. Handsome. Thanks for the save. My husband just stepped away. Good thing you caught me, or I'd have no way to explain it to him. The Larrys have been waiting years for an heir. The more I spun the tale, the smoother it got, and the darker Jason's face turned. In the end, he couldn't stand me chanting about the Larry family's precious bloodline like a broken record. He didn't say a single word, just turned and left, ice cold. God, that was scary. Next time I'm definitely switching hospitals for my checkup. I patted my chest and watched him walk away, thinking exactly that. After that day, I spent a few jittery days at home. Aside from one call from Carlos, asking whether I wanted the big pink teddy bear from the bedroom, I heard nothing about Jason. I exhaled in relief and slipped back into my easy pregnancy routine. Soon enough, it was time for the next checkup. This time, I picked the top public hospital in the capital. As I strolled over, I thought, there's no way Jason transferred from the fourth ring hospital to this one too, right? Turns out, oh yes, he did. In the lobby, I spotted Jason not far away and froze. He's one of those hyper-perceptive types. His head snapped toward me at once, a faint frown between his brows. He was probably wondering why I suddenly showed up at this hospital. After all, you don't usually switch hospitals for prenatal care. What kind of cursed coincidence is this? If I'd known Jason was here, I wouldn't have come. He stared too long to ignore, so I lifted a hand and waved. Hey, handsome, what a coincidence. You here for a prenatal checkup, to get your bandages changed? Post-amnesia, Jason was downright rude. He shot me a cold glance and turned away like I was a stranger. Back when I was his canary, if we ran into each other outside, he'd at least ruffle my hair or kiss my cheek. Now, tisk. I pulled a face at his back and zipped to OB. The checkup went great, and I got my baby's second photo. Through a mother's eyes, every baby's a knockout. To admire my adorable peanut in peace, I found a bench. He was still just a tiny dot, but the longer I looked, the more I loved him. I couldn't tear my eyes away, until someone went thud and collapsed in front of me like a scammer staging a fall. Startled, I jumped up. Sir, are you okay? I crouched and struggled to roll the man onto his back so he wouldn't suffocate and, bam, got sucker-punched by Jason's handsome face. I was speechless. How do I keep running into him everywhere? But seeing the bruise blooming on his brow, I couldn't just bail. I took a deep breath, looked around, and shouted for help, then teamed up with a nurse to get him to the ER. I slipped out after that and swore I'd switch hospitals next time. Surely then I wouldn't see him again. If I did Patoi, no way I'd be that unlucky. I was mulling it over on my way to the parking lot. But before I even cleared the outpatient doors, I ran into someone I really shouldn't. Carlos, the assistant. Remembering my promise, I held up 2 fingers and swore. I swear I'm not trying to cling to Mr. Jason. I'm here for a cold, not to stake him out. Carlos was silent for a long beat, then murmured, Mr. Jason's visit today was a last-minute arrangement. I know you're not that kind of person. He paused, face complicated. And? Thank you for helping Mr. Jason just now. I exhaled and waved it off. Don't mention it. This is a hospital. If not me, someone else would have helped. I'm terrible at small talk. So I said goodbye and started to slip away when Carlos called after me, hesitant. Miss Isabel, would you consider seeing Mr. Jason? The reason he doubts his feelings might be that he hasn't met you yet. Maybe once he does, the past will come back to him. Hard pass. We've already met a few times, no dice. Jason really did forget me. Besides, I'm pregnant. I can't risk dangling in front of him. If he gets his memory back and decides he doesn't want the baby, then even crying my eyes out won't change a thing. I shot it down at once. No. I gathered my words and gently lectured him. Assistant Carlos, your Mr. Jason expressly told me not to show up in front of him. How could you break his orders for the sake of our flimsy acquaintance? So please don't bring me up to Jason. After my checkup, I went home and listed the apartment with an agent that very night. Better safe than sorry. Running into Amnesiac Jason at a prenatal visit is one thing, but bumping into all-knowing Carlos is a disaster. If he figures out I'm pregnant, he'll almost certainly report it. Jason disliked kids before the amnesia. He'll like them even less after. That puts me and my baby at 99.9% danger. Beijing has been home since I was little. I couldn't bear to leave, so I'd have to move somewhere far from Jason within the city, and switch hospitals too. This time, I absolutely would not run into him. Third checkup. Damn it, I ran into Jason again. In the lobby, wearing a bespoke suit, standing at the entrance like he was about to chair 100 billion yuan meeting. His hair, buzzed short after the injury, had grown to his ears, and he was almost back to his pre-accident look. Only his vibe was colder than before, ice age cold. His eyes, dark as a bottomless pool, locked right onto me. I froze a short distance away, too spooked to pass him. Cursing my luck, I started thinking maybe I should just go abroad. If he remembered everything later, it'd be harder to find me. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. It'd be tough to leave home, but for the baby, worth it. If I really wanted to come back, I could wait till the kid was older. Once I'd made up my mind, I finally breathed easy. Looking at Jason again, I wasn't so scared. Hell, I even smiled. He drew a deep breath and strode toward me. After so many coincidences, he finally spoke. Any man who won't go with his wife to prenatal visits isn't worth keeping. But a kid shouldn't grow up without a dad. What I mean is, I fell for you at first sight. Forgive me for asking, can I be your child's father? I blinked, thinking I'd misheard. Jason lowered his gaze. The ice prince actually looked shy. Miss Isabel, I don't mind that the child in your belly isn't mine. I'll treat him well. I went silent, stunned, conflicted. So the guy who said he didn't like kids is passionate about being a stepdad? Doesn't like his own kid, only someone else's? Huh, hilarious. I rolled my eyes 108 times and sneered. My kid already has a dad. Why would I need you? Jason's face darkened for a second. Then he firmed up. A man who won't accompany you to checkups, can he be a good father? He can't. Can you? I can. I don't buy it. Why me 500 grand prove it? Jason drops his gaze. Jason wires the money. Then he looked at me with deep, earnest eyes. I have a lot of money. I'd make a great husband and a great father to your baby. I stared at my phone, seeing my balance jump by another million, utterly speechless. Huh? Carlos materialized out of nowhere, mouth agape, making a baffled little noise. He looked between us with an expression beyond words. Are you two role-playing something? I wasn't. Your boss has no shame and insists on being my side piece. 3 checkups, 3 hospitals, and Jason every time. With coincidence this absurd, I gave up fighting it and agreed to go home with him to give him a chance to be the other man. Carlos took the wheel. Back to Shanjing Bay? He asked. Of course, I said. Jason went feral. No. I gave him a lazy look. Why not? Got another woman stashed there? Jason stiffened, fell silent, then mumbled. There shouldn't be. Ha! Shouldn't be, he says. Is that even human language? He dropped his voice further. I, had a car accident a while ago and lost a chunk of memory. According to Carlos, I used to have a girlfriend, but I don't remember her at all. I swear I feel nothing for her, and I've already sent her away. The one I love now is you. From the first moment I saw you, I knew we should be together. Oh, so you feel nothing for me, got it. I listened stone-faced while he vowed loyalty. Meanwhile, the highly educated, supposedly brilliant Carlos was flabbergasted. He snuck a glance at me and frantically signaled Jason with his eyes. Sir, you absolutely could remember her. Jason's brain short-circuited and missed the cue. He declared, firm as a judge, I can't remember. Then, to me, tender as ever, you're the one I like. I don't care that you were married, or that you're carrying another man's child. I want to marry you. Oh, right. When are you divorcing your ex-husband? As Carlos steered through an S-curve, I shot Jason a frosty glare and ground out, let's see how you perform. Can't remember me, but still wants to be my side piece classic, Jason. Back at the villa, I secretly messaged Carlos to pretend he didn't know me, and not to reveal I'd been Jason's canary. Carlos gave Jason a pitying look, nodded, and bolted, sweating through his shirt. I sauntered into the villa. Auntie Emily was pruning flowers in the yard. When she saw me, she ran over, sneaking a glance at Jason's face and whispering, Miss Isabel, did you and Mr. Jason make up? I nodded and whispered back, yeah, but the car accident scrambled his memory. He thinks I'm someone else's wife. So if we act weird, don't take it seriously. We're playing. Auntie Emily blinked, then caught on. Oh, like that thing young people play now. What do you call it? A play, right? I smiled. So smart, Auntie Emily. I glanced at clueless Jason and let a wicked little grin curl my lips. I headed straight upstairs, changed into a nightdress, and stepped out to find Jason at the door. His eyes lit for a second. "That dress is gorgeous. I must have had it delivered fast." I twirled, hem in hand, all smiles. "It's your ex-canary's dress. How could it not look good?" His already chilly face froze solid. "Huh?" I cut in coolly. "Don't want me wearing it?" He hurriedly shook his head. "No." I leaned in and kissed him, tracking his gaze, smiling. "Good. Aren't you trying to upgrade to husband?" "Why so shy now?" His ears flushed. He turned away, lashes trembling. "We should wait till you're divorced." I traced a fingertip over his Adam's apple. "You've heard pregnant women have needs, right? If you can't handle it, I'll go find my Larry." I hadn't finished before Jason scooped me up, eyes dark as ink, and carried me into the bedroom. He laid me on the cool silk duvet and kissed me, guilt and struggle flickering across his face, but he never once stopped. I'd only meant to tease him, but pregnancy hormones flare too easily. Under his mouth I drifted and forgot to say no. He was careful with my belly, nothing rough but slow and lingering, leaving me dangling. Flushed, I begged him to go faster. He kissed my fingertips, coaxing. "Who are you begging now?" I couldn't stand the teasing and slapped him hard. He sped up, eyes going redder. "Then why won't you say it?" "Husband?" Jason paused, then bit my finger with mock ferocity. "Don't think about him now. You two are getting divorced." Post-amnesia Jason was on fire, like that infamous wearing Pinru's dress moment. Eyes closed, I was laughing myself silly even as I melted. I woke late the next morning and found him tiptoeing around, directing people to clear out my closet. I frowned at him. "What are you doing with my things?" "Stone-faced," he said matter-of-factly. "Making room for the clothes and bags you like, and all this lace decor, I'll have it removed. Pick whatever you want installed instead. The sunflowers in the garden can be dug up too, so you can plant your favorites." My temper launched into orbit. I could have blown him sky high. These were all my favorites, arranged with so much care, and he wanted them gone for some woman he's met a handful of times. Rage can make you laugh. "How could we? Aren't these your favorite touches?" "No, I don't Lee." His eyes met mine, danger flashing there. "Oh, so your former canary liked them." Jason may be frosty in public, but he can read a room a little. He shook his head frantically. No, they're my favorite." That's what I was waiting for. I dug a black suit with lace trim out of the wardrobe and tossed it to him. "Knew you'd love it, darling." "Put it on for work." "No, work calls for something proper. Black suit with lace trim. What's not proper about that?" Face like an iceberg. He accepted it at a snail's pace. Back when I decorated the villa, Jason sulked non-stop. I nearly broke my back, saving those lace details. Now, with his memory scrambled and assuming I'm someone else, he tried to have them ripped out. "Dream on. If you're a person, you're putting on that lace suit." At the table, I savored Auntie Emily's tonic porridge, while Jason tugged uneasily at the lace on his cuff. He kept that cool face, but muttered, "Do I really have to wear this?" I swallowed and said lazily, "You don't have to. I was going to talk to Larry about the divorce today, but since I'm in a bad mood, maybe I won't." No, I'll wear it. I'll also go with you to talk divorce." With his promotion on the line, Jason dropped the lace death grip in a heartbeat. I gave him a sideways look. "Go where? Look at you, swaggering around as the other man. Ever heard of morals?" In an instant, the mighty snow lion became a quail. His aura collapsed. Yet he still had the nerve to argue. "I only met you a little late." "How is that my fault? If it's not yours, is it my Larry's?" I couldn't stand Mr. First. High and mighty preaching while behaving like a cad. I jabbed a finger at him. "Then, give him more money?" I widened my eyes and cleared my throat. "A lot more. Larry adores me." That afternoon, for Larry, I received a hefty transfer from Carlos. He called right after, voice low. "Miss Isabel, if you mess with Mr. Jason like this, and his memory comes back, he may not be mad at you, but I'm done for. If he fires you in a rage, package up his recent dirt and sell it to a rival. Carlos perked up instantly. Great idea. I added another layer of insurance for him. Besides, this is just a kind of play between me and your Mr. Jason. Nothing to do with you. With Carlos settled, the intel came in as soon as Jason left the office. At the cafe, I ordered another coffee. Not long after, a familiar figure skulked into a corner, the same guy who'd coyly asked me for the meeting address before heading out. I'd thought he wouldn't show after I watched him go to work this morning. Thankfully, the actor playing Larry arrived too. He threw himself into it, pounding his chest, wailing, "Where's that homewrecker? How could she seduce you so badly, you'd divorce me?" The homewrecker herself sat behind, Larry, face prim and proper, curious to hear my reasons. He's hot and rich. Behind Larry, Jason's face blossomed into a smile. I couldn't stand that smug look. I pivoted, grabbed Larry's sleeve, and ad-libbed, "Honey, I still have feelings for you. How about I steal his money to keep you?" The actor rolled with it. Sure. Catching the proud peacock behind him suddenly go pink-eyed, I smiled too. I wasn't only running because I feared Jason would make me abort. Even if I insisted on having the baby, he wouldn't actually hurt me. The real reason I left is that Jason didn't love me enough. I met him at the worst time. My dad's business had failed. He was deep in debt, and then diagnosed with a terminal illness. He didn't last long. I was left hounded by creditors and employees demanding back pay. I sold every property and jewel, and I still owed $8 million. Jason was the creditor for that $8 million. Jobs out there were impossible to land. 5,000 to 6,000 a month was normal. 2 to 3 was abysmal. I could only find something in between the grand sum of 4,000. At 4,000, I could barely keep myself afloat. Desperate, I mustered the courage to ask Jason for a job. I'd use the salary to pay down the debt. He'd only need to cover a small monthly stipend for me. I remember him giving me a cold once-over, almost amused. He pointed at Carlos. He's a finance master's grad from the University of Chicago, working as my assistant. I pay him $2 million a year. If you had his credentials, you could clear the debt in 5 years. I wouldn't mind giving you a job. So, Miss Isabel, your degree? Me, a 211 digital media arts grad, shattered a little inside. Jason let out a cold laugh and left. I thought it was over, but that night Carlos told me to report to the group the next day. Jason had given me a spot as executive office assistant. 80 a month, with 50 deducted for debt. I did the math on a calculator. At that rate, I'd have to work for Jason 16 months. In years, that's 333.3. Not much, just, 33 or 34 lifetimes. I bawled under the covers for the half of my life I'd just lost. The next day, I checked in at Jason's company and began the work off your debt era. We started as a simple boss and employee duo, me tiptoeing around, him issuing crisp orders. Didn't even last 3 months. 2 spiked drinks did us in. The relationship turned not so innocent. He had Carlos set me up with housing that very day, and I obediently handed in my resignation. So even later, when he treated me well, I could never quite believe he loved me. I fell for Jason, so I lived on edge. Yes, I like lace frills, but not enough to plaster them wall to wall. What I loved was Jason frowning, yet indulging me anyway. He never denied being good to me, and he was sure I mattered to him. But the power gap between us was always a thorn in my throat. When he said he didn't like kids, I panicked. I was scared. I feared he'd stop liking me because I had a child. That's why I insisted on leaving after the amnesia. What I didn't expect was how low his moral floor was falling for me, even while thinking I was a married woman. The good news? I no longer had to worry he disliked children. The bad? Now I doubted his character. That night he didn't come home. Carlos said he was working late. I kept hearing an office kettle boiling over and over. I've always known Jason's a poser, aloof in public, crybaby in private, especially around me. When something hurts, he waits till I'm asleep to hold me and sob in secret. Crying outside like this was a first. I felt a twinge of guilt maybe I'd pushed too hard. Forget it. I'd tell him the truth in a couple days. Around 1 a.m., half asleep, I heard Jason come in. He'd washed up outside before getting in bed, wrapped an arm around my waist and started crying. Boo-hoo! Do you still love him? I only met you a little later. How could you love him? Boo-hoo! You're even using my money to keep him. I don't care. Keep him if you want, but you can't love him. And the baby in your belly, he can only have me for a dad. The more ridiculous he sounded, the more I wanted to slap him. I rolled over and did, telling him to cry quieter. He was loud. He caught my hand and kissed it. Then, choking up, declared, "Wife, you smell so good." The crying stopped. The perv emerged. Feeling those damp fingers, I figured it was better when he was bawling. I settled into my Shunjing Bay pregnancy routine, occasional hot guy videos, occasional Jason teasing. Life was sweet. Until one day I had the whim to go through old gifts from Jason. I found a small box with a diamond ring, silver band, bright stone, simple style, right up my alley. With shaking hands, I slipped it on my ring finger. Perfect fit, like it was made for me. Holding it to the light, I saw tiny words etched along the edge. Jason love Isabel. Isabel is my name, so this was a proposal ring for me? I grabbed the box and ran downstairs to ask Auntie Emily, who was cooking. Auntie Emily, when did this box end up in my gift room? She glanced up from the soup. The day you left. I found it under the closet and figured it was a gift from Mr. Jason, so I put it in the gift room. My throat went dry. My heart pounded. I called Carlos at once. Was Jason planning to propose before the accident? He confirmed it. I laughed and cried all at once, just a little more, and we would have been married. After a pause, Carlos added, Mr. Jason also knew you like children. While training, he asked a doctor about fertility. Before the amnesia, his plans for the future always included you. He went on. After he lost his memory, he told you to leave Beijing. But since he was about to propose, I took it on myself to only make you leave Shunjing Bay. Please don't doubt Mr. Jason's love. Even with his memory gone, he still fell for you despite thinking you were another man's wife. I hung up and sat there, a long time, happy, a little sad. Jason had never minded my drama, but I'd never dared trust him. If love is 100 steps, I was always one short of his. I texted Jason to come home early that night. He got the wrong idea. I waited till I fell asleep. He still wasn't back. Later, his crying woke me again. Boo-hoo, honey. You told me to come home early because you don't want to use my money on Larry anymore. And you want to break up, right? I don't want to break up. I can't live without you. When I saw you at the hospital, I felt so safe. So safe. I want forever with you. Boo-hoo, honey. Don't leave me. I stroked his wet cheeks. I won't leave. We're forever. He hiccuped to a stop, scrubbed his eyes, and flipped to cool guy in 1 second. No, Larry. He demanded, still a little choky. I nodded softly. No, Larry. Only you. I hugged him, told him our story, and showed him our photos. He stared at me, half believing. Really? Really? Ask Carlos if you don't believe me. Jason nodded and agreed. We fell asleep in each other's arms. The next day, Carlos called me. Mr. Jason asked if the mistress he kept before was you. I said yes. But he didn't seem convinced. He gave me the weirdest look. What did you tell him last night? I told the truth. What didn't he believe? I soon learned how Jason's mind works. He posted from a burner on a certain site. Title: My wife is colluding with my assistant to trick me. Should I call them out? Post: First, I confess my sins. I fell for a married pregnant woman and made her my wife. Whatever, that's not the point. The point is my wife changed her story. She now says she used to be my kept woman. I lost a chunk of memory in a car crash. My assistant says I had a mistress then. She also says the baby she's carrying is mine. And she photoshopped a bunch of lovey-dovey pics, heart hands and stuff I'd never do. She told me to ask my assistant if I don't believe her. This morning I did, and he said the same thing. Clickbait title. I'm not exposing anyone. I won't dig further either. I just want to know, what can I do to make my wife believe that I believe her? The post was so absurd the comments were all dragging him. I laughed from sheer fury. Last night's guilt? Call it brain fog. Truth? Schmooth? I'd keep him as my side piece. When Jason came home, I wore a stormy face. When my Larry walks in, he leads with his left foot, not like certain people who use their right. He stared coldly and said nothing. I went full snark. My Larry smiles a lot, unlike certain people who keep a frozen face. Such a buzzkill. Jason tried to lift the corners of his mouth, but it was painfully stiff. I rolled my eyes again. Tisk. My Larry's smile is gorgeous. Some people smile like they're about to cry. Click, the lights went off, cutting off my next swing. Jason went feral, crushing his mouth to mine. Don't say Larry. You're not allowed to say it. I hate him. I barely got a sound out beyond whimpers. He was truly mad, ditching the cool guy act, crying and going at it at the same time. I almost cried too from pleasure. That's the price for not believing me. The next day, I dragged Jason to get our marriage license. 5 months later, I delivered a healthy baby. A year after that, when our kid was learning to talk, I overheard Jason whisper, "Baby, I'm your real dad. If anyone talks nonsense, don't you believe it?" I elbowed him, fuming. Heaven help me, when will his memory come back? When the kid turned 3. One night I accidentally mentioned Larry, now a bona fide best actor, and Jason exploded. He raged all night before calming down. When I woke, he was propped against the headboard, staring at me. Sleepy? I pecked his cheek and grumbled, "So what if I watch 2 episodes of Mr. Best Actor Larry? Why so jealous? Besides, I've got nothing to do with him." The next second, Jason clapped a hand over my mouth, flustered. I know. Don't say it. Normally, I'd have to reassure him 3 times before he'd drop it. Today, he was off. I snapped. My eyes open, his face was crimson, lips pressed tight. A thought struck me. Your memory's back? He shot me a furious glare. Ha! Nailed it. I flipped over, hugged his waist, and grinned. Forgive the bold question, may I be your child's father? Honey. Sound familiar? Jason swung his head away, staring at everything but me. I leaned with him, tracking his gaze up, down, left, right, grinning like a brat. Who said that? So hard to guess. Jason puffed up like a pufferfish. My laughter multiplied like 80 parrots. Ha ha ha! The noise set him off. He pounced like an unruly puppy and started kissing me breathless. Isabel, don't laugh. Outside, the sunlight poured in bright and warm, just like Jason's love for me.